Oh shit. Here we go again.
Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, WebDave, David Anthony, big fat guy in a chair, whatever you want to call me. I ain't said anything. But I am here with the one and only Kmega. K, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Really good. How are you? How are you today?
I'm hanging in there, man. Been a long day and gonna be a longer one. Still got a lot of stuff coming up, but
Yeah, you got a lot of
man,
work going. You got a
I
lot of
do,
work going.
I do.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you taking the time today to join us here, so we can get to know you a little better and let people know more about your channel and the things that you do. And we were lucky enough to have you on. Retri said he found your channel and said so we got to have him on Gamers Council, and you did an amazing job. We hope to have you back on again soon because you did a great job. We enjoyed having you on.
Yeah, no, I appreciated the invite. I appreciate anybody that gives me an invite. Been doing this for a while, but man, yeah, definitely enjoyed it. And yeah, you can catch my channel, Kmega 405. And then on Twitter at Kmega4. And then I also have a TikTok and I have a Discord under the same name. Well, the Discord is GRG Nation, but still, you can still find me under Kmega 405 on Discord as well. So yeah, really do appreciate it though. And I'm on Twitch. And I'm on Twitch under Kmega 405. I just gotta keep it kind of simple. The only thing that's different is Twitter, because I couldn't put the 405 in there, so I just put the 4.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That works. And I'll have all the links to all your channels and your ways people can reach you will be in the description below. And of course, this will also be on audio as well on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And that will also have the description. In the description will be all the links as well, so people don't have to worry about missing out on you. So as I always kind of start these interviews, I always like to just ask something simple, and it's not really kind of related to our overall subject, but sometimes it can be an interesting little fact or not. So what was your first job that you ever had that you can recall?
It was cutting lawns. That was my first job as a 13-year-old. Was out there cutting yards. Something that's more like job related. That would me being a pizza delivery guy for Little Caesars. Yeah.
Very cool. I've done that job before. My many careers of things that I've done. So yeah, so that can be cool. Can also be crazy. People sometimes can lose their mind if they think you're late and you're like, hello, traffic, and you didn't have to get out, and thanks for the $1 tip, and you're yelling at me for being late.
Oh yeah, there was this these regulars that would call and order the same thing every time, and got the habit of every time that you send a pizza there, that they would always complain that it was cold before they'd even open the box or anything. So they would try to get a discount or a free pizza the next time. And so we made it to where when we got the pizza, when we made the pizza would be the first delivery. And so we would do it. And then kind of this was like one of the first times. This was well before it actually became a habit, but had to carry a camera. And so yeah, I had to carry a camera and take a picture of the time of when I left, and then the time that I got there and the time that I delivered to them. And so yeah, it was pretty wild. And so, because they would always complain, and then they would call and do all that stuff. But there was a whole bunch of other wild stuff that happened with that. Like, I mean, especially you go and deliver at 2:00 in the morning at like the military, because we stayed close to a military base, Tinker Air Force Base out here, and the parties that they would have and the things that we would see. It was pretty wild, man. It was crazy. A lot of crazy stuff, fun, crazy, and then there was some wild stuff though mixed in, but it was mostly the crazy fun stuff.
Well, you look at it this way, you know, every little chapter in somebody's life, you know, is something you learn from or some experience that it's like you make sure you never repeat again. One of the two.
Oh yeah, and also uh, laws were totally different back in the '90s because I mean I was 16 and this particular Little Caesar stayed open late at night.
Ah,
And there's used to be those they got these child laws
mhm.
now that kids can't stay, they can only work so many hours now, man. We could work as many hours as we wanted to back then. So
Yeah, exactly. It's a little
cool.
cushy
Yeah.
for these guys nowadays. God,
Oh man, it's
that's
way
so
cushy,
easy.
man. I don't know,
One
man.
time I was out delivering pizzas and I couldn't the way the map was, this was before GPS, so we had to, you go find and stuff because I
Oh
was really
yeah.
bad. So
Yeah.
it was like, oh, where was this thing at? And when I finally figured it out, oh, I gotta turn around. Well, I turned around and when I backed up to turn around, got a little too close to the ditch and got stuck. So
Oh
yeah.
man.
So and then I had of course had to call a tow truck. And I called back the pizza place and they're like, what do you think you're gonna get out? And I'm like, the driver said he'd be here in a few hours. And they're like, all right. So they ended up having to make the pizzas and stuff again that I had and
Oh
and
yeah.
go some another driver had to go take them out there. And of course they apologized and blah 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 all that stuff. But of course I'm just stuck. And then when then when I called them back, I'm like, so when we bring these pizzas back, and they're like, nah, you can just go ahead and take off the rest of the night and you can just take that with you and you have it for dinner. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. 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 They used to do that. Like when people didn't call. I mean, didn't they called in and they canceled or whatever. Man, yeah, that was dinner. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was great. That was great. Also, there was another pizza place called Pizza Time too, because once they actually stopped having having Little Caesar stay open so late, the
Hmm.
Pizza Time place stayed open as well. So stayed open late. They stayed open until I think 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
I worked both places. I was out there hustling, man. I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could, man.
I like
So
it. I
yeah, and
like it.
play sports. So I was doing what I could.
There you go. There
Oh
you go.
man.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Mhm.
The I think a small chain for me was called Pizza Roma was the name
Ah.
of it, and a
Mhm.
local chain. It was maybe 10 stores at its heyday kind of thing. And they used to make this stromboli. It was just absolutely amazing on like French bread, and I've never had anybody else that ever duplicate it. And they're closed now, so it's one of those things where it's like, oh my god, we miss
Oh,
that
well,
so much.
yeah, I bet.
Oh, because just
I
to the
bet.
perfect everything. Anyway, I'm
I
getting
know,
time for
right? You're
dinner,
getting me
man. Let's
hungry. I
go
want to
eat.
let me drink something. You know, got me. Oh
Goodness.
man, man, drink my flavored water
There you go. There you go.
because I'm an
I
old
got
man. I can't be drinking this much soda. So I mean,
same here. I do have sweet tea, but it is zero sugar sweet tea.
I'll say,
There you
yeah,
go.
same, yeah,
So you
yeah. Once you
got
get to a certain age, man, you got to
mm-hmm.
watch out for that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. What's the old rule? If you want to keep your feet, you want.
Right.
Well, I like walking.
I
Oh
like.
goodness,
That's
yeah.
it.
Goodness,
Oh
goodness.
man,
All
yeah.
right, well, let's talk about some gaming. So, what was your first experience with gaming? Was it PC, arcade? Was it home console? How did it get started for you?
It was arcade. I remember 3 years old, vividly. That's something that I will never forget. My first experience getting to play Pac-Man on the table arcade at the laundromat. My mom would always go to the local laundromat in our neighborhood, and then I just got fascinated with it. Sat down. Well, I was standing up. When I later in the years, could sit down and still play on the table arcade, but I was standing up trying to learn how to play it. I couldn't even tell you now. I couldn't even tell you at this point if they actually let me play it or if I was imagining that I was playing it because I don't recall putting any quarters or anything in that machine at that time.
Right.
But as time went on, every time that my mom wanted to go to the laundromat, I wanted to go with her, and then that laundromat kept increasing and bringing more arcades, and then they finally upgraded from the table arcades to the actual arcades that people know and love now
Nice.
or remember. And they had some pinball machines as well there too at their laundromat. So yeah, no, that's where it all started from me. It's from at the little laundromat.
Yeah, and little places like that. Sometimes, like Walmart's or some movie theaters would have a machine here or there that was just like, oh my gosh, we had our mall at the time had an Aladdin's Castle.
Oh yeah, I
I don't
remember
know if that
Aladdin. Yeah,
chain's still around or not, but I think
I
most of them
don't
are
think
gone.
Aladdin. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Aladdin is gone. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and but boy, I mean, it does. I started playing like Killer Instinct, Tron, Dragon's Lair, just, all those kind of crazy games that that were like, whoa, at the time when you saw them, Tempest, you're like, this is revolutionary, whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, Defender
Hmm.
and yeah, all that. And really, the very first game that I got actually pretty good at was Joust.
Oh, nice.
And then I sucked at Pac-Man until I got a little bit older. But
Hmm.
Joust, it was something that just resonated with me, and I could play it. I had the high record at that arcade, and it took some years before somebody else beat it. Because I kept going to that arcade until I was
Hmm.
about 8 or 9 years old. So that laundromat stayed. Well, I can't say I call it arcade; it was a laundromat.
Right.
But yeah, I would after I ride the bike to the laundromat. Those people knew me. There was a
Yeah.
old Korean couple, and they knew me. I was like, oh, it's because my middle name is Kareem. So they was like, oh, it's Kareem. Here he comes. And they give me my quarters, I give them the money, and we getting with it. So
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So I guess from arcades, I mean, how did your I guess gaming progress from there? Was it consoles, PC? What started growing to where you're I mean, you look behind you right now, and you got you definitely got a gaming influence behind you.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah,
know that
yeah.
that what was next for you? What was your journey?
Well, it came from the arcades, and then of course, since my family kind of knew that I was into that type of stuff, my grandfather would always call them uh, kid toy boxes, and so uh, he was like, "This stupid boy likes these kid toy boxes," and so he got me it was a little mini arcade of Donkey Kong, and there was Donkey Kong, and then there was another one, but the other one was broke, so that's why I can't remember the name of it. But I remember the Donkey Kong one because I love
Right.
Donkey Kong at the arcade,
Hmm.
and so there was these just little tiny miniature ones, and then when I got that, then it progressed to the Atari 2600, and my mom got me that,
Nice.
and that's how I kind of got started with the home console. And then I was playing games like pro wrestling. Oh, I'm sorry, the pro wrestling was from Nintendo. There was a game called Dodge 'em that kind of was reminiscent of Pac-Man,
Hmm.
but it was with cars. It was kind of weird. Of course, I played ET. ET. Had no idea how to play it. No,
Yep.
nothing. It didn't know anything about that. Pong, of course, um, Defender, and that was the very first time that I come to the realization that console games weren't the same as arcades because I was expecting the same type. You look at
Hmm.
the little cartridge and you excited and you think it is going to be the same as the arcade, and like, no, it's totally not that. But I still had a blast playing it just because I could play it in the house.
Right.
And then after that, there was a friend of my grandfather's. My grandfather was a trash man, and they had a Commodore 64, and they
Hmm.
didn't use it. I guess their kid went to college or
Hmm.
whatever. I don't know, but they gave it to my grandfather. My grandfather gave it to me, and
Nice.
I played football on it. It was just football. That's the only game that I could afford. Well, I couldn't afford that. My family afforded because I think that they were
Sure.
really scarce to find
Yeah.
back then, especially living in Oklahoma. Like it wasn't like it was on the coast or anything like that. So that was the only game that I was able to play on my Commodore 64. So it was mostly just primarily Atari 2600, and then finally graduated to the Nintendo. Seen it at a Walmart, the NES, and I seen
Hmm.
this game called Balloon Fight. And Balloon
Mm.
Fight reminded me so much of Joust. I
Mm.
begged my grandmother and my mom and my grandfather, please, please. And they finally got me one for Christmas, and it
Nice.
was I didn't get the Geromite, but I did get the gun. So so it was fun because my grandfather played with me with Duck Hunt. He thought Duck Hunt was really fun, and then it just progressed from there, playing games like Renegade, the Double Dragons, Kid Nicky's, Corn Off, like it just, Bio Billy. The list goes on of just tons of Nintendo games I played. The most difficult game for me, and it took me a long time to beat, that was an NES game, was Rygar. That was my first true experience as something like that, when everything else is kind of hit and miss on whatever. And but no, I just graduated from there, moved on to the NES, and then so forth and so forth. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember Rygar myself. It was a lot of fun, challenging. Kid Icarus, games like that.
Love Kid
even
Icarus,
but so I guess as you're getting older, I guess odd jobs, maybe your lawn mowing thing. Did you start saving up and getting your own systems then?
Absolutely. I remember I helped pitched in. And bought my own games from my allowance well, not allowance, but me from working in cutting lawns. But I remember going to TGNY and getting a Sega.
Nice.
So getting a Sega Genesis, and I progressed from that, and then I was so heavy on Nintendo back with the NES, but there was something about the Sega Genesis that kind of changed up. And at this time, I'm junior high, high, kind of not yet high school yet, but still in junior high. And so I'm older, and so those games seem more mature. Just like, and then we're really heavy into sports games, like the NHLs, Blades of Steel,
love that game.
Bill Walsh football, of course, Madden, and then just, and then there was just, the college basketball games, the NCAA games. And then there was fighters, because the very first fighter I ever got into was karate at the arcade, and I loved it. And then that became my fascination with fighters. Moved on into games like Pit Fighter, and then you moved into Virtual Fighter, and just so many classic fighters that was in between there. But then, like, with the whole thing that changed me from being a NES fan to a Sega fan was the gore in Mortal Kombat, which because the blood was not in the Super Nintendo, because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. My friends had a Super Nintendo. Graphically, it looked better, but it just, I just was turned off by it. So I just kind of stayed with Sega at that whole point, and then my whole love fest for Sega just kind of blossomed after that, and just played games like Lunar, Earthworm Jim, man, so many, Shinobi. I mean, it just countless games, Toe Jam and Earl. So yeah, just countless games, just go that you just play and go through. And then I'm still at this time going to Aladdin's Castle in the mall and playing arcades. So
nice.
So yeah.
That's like, it sounds kind of like me, man. There's so many great games, and different consoles had so many great things on it. And not everybody could get everything all at once, but a lot of times you had a friend that had something different than you could, or if they had the same thing, maybe had different games, trade up and that kind of thing. And that was what you had to do to really get into gaming, was to was kind of share and spread, and kind of get your game on other places. Sometimes go to my cousin's house, he had a different system than I had, so that kind of stuff. And that's great. That's the way I look at it. It's, some people say, well, if you're short of money, it's if you get the game, you get the game.
That's right.
Either way, even
that's right.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say is that, like, the console war aspect was more of the corporations themselves, because how we looked at it was, okay, I'm coming over to your house to kick your ass, on your system of choice, and they would feel the same way for us, and then we would come to our parents, or if we were older enough, we would try to get our our own console. At that time, it wasn't as fickle as it is now, and people just pick and choose just one thing and then just say that the other is trash and all that stuff. It never was that. It was just
right.
You just wanted to just compete and show that that's just because I'm playing on this console, it's the better console because I can come over here and I can do bad things to you.
Yeah, there you go. I guess the early console war stuff I remember will be, it was just kind of a slogan thing, was like what Sega does, what Nintendo don't, or something like that, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even then, it really, the players were just still so craving to play. It wasn't really that, kind of thing. But yeah, so I guess as we'll kind of jump up a little bit as you got older, and then the PlayStation's
that was
out in its heyday, and then
that was a game changer for me right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was the game changer. That was the thing right there that it blew my mind. First off, it was a disc. Well, I did have Sega CD. Now, I did. I was at this time. I was working. For the pizza play for at Little Caesars and at Pizza Time at the time. So I did get my own Sega CD. And so I knew about the discs, whatever. But then when I seen what PlayStation was doing, and then I had my friend, he called me over during Christmas and says, "Man, I got this new console. I know, you was thinking about getting a Saturn, but maybe you need to just wait and think about getting this PlayStation." I'm like, what? Go over there. There was 2 games. He had 3 games, but the 2 games that he had was Tekken, and the other game was NFL Game Day. And graphically at that time, and how it blew my mind. And then to that day to now, Tekken is my favorite franchise of all games, like ever. And that just and so I was such a PlayStation, like I'll call people stands. Or when I was a PlayStation stand. The PlayStation 1 is still, to me, regarded as my favorite console of all time. I mean, all the variety of games, and especially the fighters, all the fighters that was available. You could just, all that variety was just unmatched. Even I know that a lot of people love the PlayStation 2 better. No, the PlayStation 1 just had everything you could possibly imagine. And then after that, and then that was actually the very first, because I played Lunar, but I didn't really know how to play it when I played it on Sega, on the Genesis. But Wild Arms was my very first true Japanese RPG that I got through and beat. And then the next game was Final Fantasy VII. And then after that, it became just crazy. So fighters, story games, then it was Resident Evil, all that stuff. So like I said, the variety on PlayStation 1 was just unmatched to me. And then moved forward, and then at this time I have a kid, so I'm not really into Nintendo, but I know Nintendo is more for kids. So then I got my kid a GameCube.
Nice.
And then I had an old NES. He was playing on that, but then I got him a GameCube, and then I get the Dreamcast, which is the last of the Sega goats, which got me back in love with Sega again. And actually, I think that's kind of like, because I just wish that because I was like, oh my goodness, it seems like it's going to start acting, it's going to be like what PlayStation was, but it's just going to be Sega and these graphics and all of that, but it just didn't happen that way. And then we came to a point to where we were, where I had the PlayStation 2, love the PlayStation 2, but not as much as I love the Dreamcast. And then at that point, I'm, deep into work. I'm truck driving over the road, kid. I got 2 kids now, and, I'm a single father to one, and, responsibilities was crazy. So gaming wasn't at the forefront like it was at one point in time. And then at that point, then my friend had a friend that hit me up and was telling me, hey, I got this new console. He was, I got a lot of friends that's in the military, and he said, I want you to come over here because I know you play this stuff. And And so I said, oh, okay, I'll come over there. And then I brought my PlayStation with me just in case, because I didn't know what he had.
Right.
And the next thing you know, he says, man, I want you to know, I want to try to learn how to play this game, man. And he said, it looks kind of cool. The person that I bought this console off of, man, he said that it's state-of-the-art console. And I'm like, what is this thing? And so he handed me the controller, and the controller was the size of a dinner plate. And I'm like, what is this thing here? The Duke. And then I'm like, man, I'm not playing this enough. So I was trying to talk him to hook, let me hook up the PlayStation. Let's play some Madden or something. And he had this game called Halo. And I did not really like shooters. I mean, I played a few shooters. 007, of course, I liked. And man, why I can't think of the other shooter. Time Splitters. I like those. Yeah, but like other shooters, I wasn't even a fan of. And I'm like, man, I don't even know how to do it. And so it took us forever to learn how to figure out how to play it, right? And then a couple other friends came through. And I said, okay, we kind of got the idea of it. Long story short, we said, all right, I mean, I'll come back here tomorrow, and then we'll try to play it, for real this time, do some 4-player co-op, whatever. And so we were supposed to go out to the club, hang out, do something. I had some free time. My mom was going to watch the kids. I was good. I was like, all right. But we found ourselves, after we all learned how to play Halo, stayed in and played Halo from, what was that, 3:30? And I got in trouble because I was supposed to come pick up my kids at 8 o'clock that morning, and I was still gaming with my boys playing Halo. And that changed everything at that point, because not only was it Halo, but it was the fact that it was, the hard drive and all this other technology that was in the Xbox that just kind of blew me away. And I'm like, what? No more memory cards? Are you kidding me? And, and then I got familiar with the Duke, and then I just kind of like, okay, all right. So when the 360 came, it was a no-brainer for me. And then I did get the PlayStation 3, but it was because of that $600 price tag. I was like, I'll wait to get one. I did eventually get one. But then at that point in time, the damage was done. I became an Xbox guy, and then officially just stayed there. This is where I've been. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So all right, Kmega 405. So is that your gamer tag? Is that what's the relation on that?
It is a gamer tag, but it is my area code for Oklahoma City. The 405 is the area code for Oklahoma City. It was funny because I had a dare from one of my military friends, Mike, when I first signed up for Xbox Live, which I was really late to that party. So it was Xbox Live Silver. So I was going to think of a name, and there was a name you could pick. And so he said, I dare you to pick that name. I said, I don't care. I'm not playing online because I didn't believe in it. Right. Because I still had those old PlayStation mentality, like, I'd rather just play single player games or couch co-op, whatever. Right. But the name was Brown Chew Toy. So it was Brown Chew Toy. Yeah, it was Brown Chew Toy. So I stayed Brown Chew Toy for a long time. And that's kind of like, I guess, when you get to the next part of how I got started in getting into podcasting and into content creating or whatever. But I had to change my name. Big shout out to Big Kahuna to say, man, you cannot be Brown Chew Toy.
But the ladies, they like it so much.
They like it so much. But I did get hit on by a lot of guys when I was playing Call of Duty. So because I didn't say nothing, and I would just listen. The next thing you know, I got shot by Brown Chew Toy. What you look like? I said I look like a man. So so I got hackled by that. So big shout out to you, Mike, for over here daring me to pick that name.
That's so funny.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious. Hilarious. All right. Well, let's kind of segue into it then. So I guess you're watching, I guess, some YouTube. You maybe you're watching some other, you just started to get into it, and so how did it, what was it that like drove you to be like, I can do that, or how did that journey happen for you?
Well, it really wasn't me. Like I could feel like I could do that. I'm like I said, I was kind of late to the whole social media thing, but I did watch a lot of like X-Play, game trailers, stuff from IGN. Read a lot of IGN and GameStop stuff. or like I would say Game Informer, things like that, Nintendo Power. I always read magazines and things like that. I always kept up with gaming. But I just so happened to just once I got into Xbox Live, I started talking with other people, and then I just so happened to meet this group of guys that was from a group called We Game Here, and Kid Smooth was a part of them. Xbox 448 was a part of them. Rise and Grind, and T Tech and King Dre. And then Big Kahuna was as well at that time. And so I would mostly talk with Big Kahuna, Kid Smooth, most of the time at that point, at that point, Rise and Grind. And then I remember when they would have conversations about gaming, like they would get into it. You know how it is when you're in Xbox Live's parties or any party, for instance, Discord or whatever. There's people that just want to talk about gaming. And so I would just say stuff. And then Kid Smooth was like, man, you're pretty knowledgeable on this stuff. Like, why don't you think about getting into, game content, you do some gaming content. I'm like, man, I don't have any idea. I don't have a PC. I don't have any of that stuff, man. I don't know what, how to even think about anything like that. But long story short, him, Kid Smooth, and Big Kahuna talked me into doing it. And then that's when Big Kahuna was like, now listen, if you're going to really do this, you're going to have to change your name from Brown Chew Toy to something else. And I said, okay, all right. So I had a homeboy that always called me Kmega and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll just do Kmega 405, just something
cool,
kind of different, whatever like that. But
sure.
yeah, it was Kid Smooth and Big Kahuna that talked me into doing it, man. Gave me the confidence. So it's real cool.
Well, that's awesome. So did you like do a show with them? Were you just a guest? How'd that happen? What went from there?
It was crazy because that's how, like I said, that's how I met my boy Xbox 448 was through them. But I never got a chance to talk about video games, but I was talking about, there was a sports podcast. So I would always be on there talking sports with them. And then I got my very first opportunity to talk gaming with Anchorman V. He was the very first one. He heard me talking about sports or just in a party talking with people, and then he was like, hey, you want to come on my show? And I was so nervous because I was cool talking about sports, but we're talking about gaming now, so this is a different animal. So Anchorman V gave me my first actual real opportunity, and then at that point it turned into a person, a friend of mine, B Shadows, was the second person, and then after that it was Xbox 448 because he started to do his own thing because we knew each other from We Game Here, and then that's how it all got started. And the rest is history. That was back in 2014. 2014. Wow. I kind of took a year and a half off, and then I came back, and then I've just been doing it ever since like pretty much heavily since 2016.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So so I guess to kind of break it down a little bit, what is you see the like coming on the screen now, the founder of GRG podcast. What is that, and what did that entail, and how did that come about?
Well, it's LLC. Once I was doing the podcast, the next podcast with Xbox 448, I was doing that. I was also doing work with Next Gen 720. He also gave me another big opportunity. Crap Gamer hit me up, was like, hey man, you want to be a part of BGST? And at that time, that was the hottest show out there. So that blew my mind to be even asked, because I was on a show with Next Gen that was called the Multiplayer, which was really wild, rowdy. It was fun. There was times it got a little out of hand, but for the most part, it was just fun to do. Come off work, we'll get off work and then come in and then just get rowdy, and so let off some steam. But when it was BGST, that's when it felt like, oh man, this is the opportunity that I've been looking for to get to kind of break through and get my name out there a little bit. And I did that. And then Xbot decided to start doing his podcast, which was, like I said, the next podcast. And so I was there from the get. And so that's when eventually, after so long, I decided, like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to do my own thing. And so that's when but I wanted to put a twist on it, because I always felt that women gamers were not represented enough. So, especially women of color. And so I went out and reached out to Lady Infamous and Delilah HD, and asked them, and then with Delilah being very reluctant, but I was explaining, look, man, I'm telling you, this is the opportunity. I think, just want to just, give it my vision of it and all that. So they said yes, and then I had 100. I was a part of their clique with 100. 100, shout out to 100. And we all kind of did something together, and then I had all day a part of the podcast, and it was wild and fun, man. It was just just the crew was just crazy, and then we added because all day knew Fonzarelli, and that was Fonzarelli's start, was being a part of the GRG podcast. And so, and a big shout out to Fonzarelli that still gives that, that credit, to me or whatever. And I really do appreciate that, what I'm saying? Seeing a big shout out to him and what he's doing out there with Dealer and all those guys out there. And then his own stuff as well. But but no, like it just blossomed, and it was great, and it's still great. What I'm saying? It's not the same crew, but we have a good time. It's just the Friday night hype, man. We just, what I'm saying, it's never left its spot. At the time when we went there was only one other podcast, because at that time Crossfire was gone. Mooch stepped away, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to take that slot, yay! And so I asked him, was it cool? He said, yeah, I wasn't planning on coming back, but then when he did decide to come back, he was respectful. Mooch was like, hey man, can I get that 6 o'clock slot back? And I was like, yeah, man, I'll just move to 8 p.m. Central Time. It's no big deal. I'm saying? I'm glad you're back. I'm saying? I'm glad that you let these people hold you back from doing what you need to do. And so, yeah, we did that. And yeah, I've just been doing it for all these years. Matter of fact, we're 4 episodes away. Now, I should have been well over 300 episodes, but I take breaks. I don't want to be a taskmaster to the people that's a part of the podcast. So I take breaks, but we're 4 episodes away from our 300th episode. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Really excited about that. But yeah, no, GRG is just about the gamers. It's Xbox centric, but we have PlayStation guys on there. We bring anybody who wants to be a part of it to come talk with us. We have fun, cut loose, just a good Friday night thing. Really do enjoy doing it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I did finally get to catch a couple episodes, and it was fantastic. Like I said,
man. Appreciate it.
You guys, you do a really good job, and everybody needs to make sure they subscribe to your channel and hit the bell icon. They need to make sure they do that. The description below has that link. You can just click on it, subscribe. That way you don't miss anything. And if you're already watching something else at the time, that's a wonderful thing about YouTube, is that when you get some downtime, you just go back and find episodes you might have missed and jump on and watch them, because they're all good, man. And like you said, getting ready to come up on 300, so you know what you're doing, and you've been doing it for a while, and you built a good established base, and I think it's great, because in this community, to me, I think it's absolutely second to none. It's just, that's why I wanted to do a show about the people that do either content or game development or anything to do with gaming.
Yeah,
it's a cool community, great universe of people, and you get all different kinds, man, from all different walks of life, all over the world, and all different creeds. Just, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. Doesn't matter. Right. It's just if you play games, you're gaming. Now, sometimes your smack talk may be a little different than somebody else's.
right.
Well, oh goodness. But
but no. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No. I was just going to say, just going to add on to that, is that, like, one thing, like what you were saying, like I've one of my goals was always to try to get as many people that's been a part of GRG to get to their 1,000, or to get them to get noticed. And like Grown Women Gaming, they got there. Ham Solo, he just recently got to his 1,000. 108 Dragons TV, he got part of this. He got to 1,000. Like, I mean, that to me is like, because I know how that feel to get to that threshold of 1,000 subscribers. It's a lot more easier for people now, especially if you know how to hit the algorithms. I'm horrible at soliciting myself. I hate doing it, so I don't, and that's probably why I'm not up there with some of the others. But one of my main things is always wanting to make sure I take care of the people that's been a part of, to take the time out on their day on Fridays, and for when me and my buddy the Don, we do the Dev and the Gamer every couple of weeks, to try to get people to recognize these other content creators, because there's so much talent out there, and you just want to get people to to not only just to pay attention to you, but pay attention to what everybody else around you do. And I've always been an advocate for that. So, and especially I'm really strongly behind women gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because as you both know, we're probably around the same age, and it was just almost non-existent to see female gamers.
Yeah.
You know, and to see how female gamers are out here and so strong and vibrant, it blows my mind. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm just so happy about where gaming is now compared to where it used to be.
Yeah, me too, man. Right there with you, 100%. It's I try and do what I can, but it's like I said, that's why I love being able to do the show that we do on Sundays, because we can get a good audience mix of like I said, male, female, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't don't really look at it that way. It's like, what you can bring to the table, and everybody helping everybody else brings us all up. It really does in the gaming community, and I think it's awesome. So with that, let's take a little bit of a, I guess, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about the current state of gaming.
Okay.
So this is going to air right after the Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
Okay.
So just to put that in perspective, so, and it'll still be, by the time this airs, it'll be a week away from the Game Awards.
Okay.
Yeah. So as any particular thing of gaming that you think of right now, or where do you think the state of it is?
Technology wise, it is better than it's ever been. I've always been a person that's been excited of innovation. I don't like things to be stagnated. So yes, it's comfortable it's comfortable to have familiarity, but that only gets you so far. And so when you see gaming going this way, and where people got so excited, got a little nervous, and got a little bit out of pocket when it came to digital game content, I looked at it as, oh my goodness, I ain't got to go stand out in line to go get a game. Even though there's times I do miss going out and standing at the GameStop or Best Buy for a midnight launch and interacting with your peers. But also there's times that, like, you got to go to work, what I'm saying? You can just go ahead and get that game, it's already downloaded, it's ready to go. So it's the convenience of that. And I can get a couple of hours in, because every time, there's not been one time back then when I went to a midnight launch that I had time to sit back and play that game. I had to, unless I got it early, and still you had to wait for the game to download. So, so I still had to play it the next day. So that with just things like that with technology. But the one thing that I am concerned about is some of the gaming media. While a lot of people, get on these soapboxes and talk about the console wars and things like that, the more and more I see, these clickbait articles, just trying to do more shock and awe to get clicks than they are to just do what it used to be back during the Adam Sessler days, and when Jeff Keighley was working for Game Trailers, and we was watching Michael Pachter and all that, you know what I'm saying? And although it was about gaming, it's all about it's all about like console sales, and it's about what this game is sold, not about the game so much itself. Not about this. It's about the prestige, the prestige of where this is. And I hate the rating system.
Me
Ever
too.
since they changed it to where games get perfect scores, that only should apply to games that are the best of the best.
Mhm.
And then you should have a tally of what those games were through that decade. Which one of those games were the best that were 10s? Every game now that's a 10, absolutely gross to me. It just makes me sick to my stomach to see that. But those things concern me. But like you said, the community, it's great to be a part of the community. And sometimes, when you get into, in the weeds like I do, because you just want to interact with people. Some people get out of pocket.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no. I mean, it's just great to talk with people that are gamers, man. I can't talk with my wife about this stuff. She's like, okay, I got things to do.
Mhm.
So, and then like my homeboys, they're gamers, but they're not like as in depth as I am or
Right.
you are. So it's great to be a part of the community and talk with people. Not only just that's with Xbox, but with PlayStation, with Nintendo, with PC, with mobile, all that. So, yeah. But I think gaming overall is in a great place. The other only problem that I do have is the price gouging aspect. I know that the Take-Two, what the Take-Two CEO brought up about paying games should be paid for an hour, and maybe that Grand Theft Auto 6 might needs to be raised up in price.
Yeah.
That's the thing to where you put yourself in a position to where you have the haves and the have-nots, and gaming should never be in a position to where we have that. Gaming is one of those things that should be all inclusive all the time.
Amen.
Never to be separated. Now, yes, if somebody can't afford to get a Series X or a PlayStation 5 Pro, whenever that drops, but they still have the option to get the Slim or the S or a cheaper version of the Nintendo Switch or something of that nature, or get a affordable PC. It should never be where there should be haves and have-nots in gaming when there's so many people that do it now.
Yeah, I agree with that for real, because it's the biggest entertainment market on the planet. It's bigger than movies, TV shows combined.
Yeah,
music, and all those kind of little elements are all part of gaming, but the actual gaming, the interactive part of entertainment is what the others they can't do. And so I think it is pretty amazing, like you said, and it's growing every year. The prediction for the next like 5 years, it's like what almost double what it is now. Holy crap!
I mean, these games have budgets bigger than movies.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there how big it is and how spectacular it is. Another thing that I really do enjoy quickly is just to say that you know how this was. When you bought a game and if it was broken, it was broken.
Yeah.
You can never get it fixed. It was what it was. But now, even though, of course, it's inconvenient to go in and play a game that's broken, especially with all the technology and everything and the money that you're putting into games and stuff like that. But it is always bittersweet to me when you can get a patch and it's fixed. So that's another testament to where gaming has been and where gaming is at now. And man, and we'll see what this AI technology will do going forward. I'm not so much afraid of it as some people are. It's just one of those things to me. Is just like if people talk about like, well, they take away jobs and things like that. I would ask those people to think about when they grab their cell phone and go to Amazon. Did they think about those brick and mortar stores? It was those people that worked in those brick and mortar stores that no longer aren't there no more because you chose to buy stuff from Amazon than to go back to the store. So I mean, it is what it is, So that's my point on that.
I know I 100% agree. Small example: my daughter, ever since she graduated from high school, actually before when she was in high school, all the way up to now, she's 22 now, be 23 this year.
Nice.
I can't believe that. Yeah, that she's the manager of a local movie chain, the Malco movie chain. So she's what's called a floor manager, and been doing it for a long time. Loves it, but yeah, it's up and down as far as, you know, especially with COVID when that
Oh
really
man.
changed the playing field. So a lot of people are more used to staying at home, you know, waiting a month and paying that $19 to watch a movie at home instead of getting the whole family
Movies.
together and going into the movies, getting popcorn stuff, which to me I still love.
I was
That.
going to say, I still love going to the movies. That will never change. I think that's just a Gen X thing, and
Mhm.
you know, like, yeah, I love the movies.
Yeah.
Always have, always will.
Now, I'm not saying it's going away, but it's definitely not the animal it used to be.
No,
That's for
it is
sure.
not. It is
Yeah.
not.
So,
It is not.
but Kmega, man, this has been awesome talking to you and getting to know you, and I really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you'll be back on Gamers Council again soon.
Oh
Because,
yeah, yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
you were great. We absolutely
Yeah.
we had a blast with you, man. So if you don't mind, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can reach out to you, and look, everything will be in the description. But sometimes we just like to hear it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you can come check out my channel, Kmega 405 on YouTube. I do have a Twitch. I have not been on Twitch for a little while because I've been dealing with some other stuff, you know, that's, you know, personal real life stuff.
It happens.
But there's a thing that I always have been doing for the last few years called Fight Night Sundays, which I play nothing but fighters. That will be coming back during the holidays, most likely around Christmas, the beginning of the year, finally. So, you know, I'm going to be really excited to get to coming back because I love playing my fighters. That will be back. So check out my Twitch channel, same name, Kmega 405. I also do a podcast with my boy, the Don. It's called The Dev and the Gamer. And he is a dev. I'm a gamer, of course. And so we have that on my channel every couple of weeks, usually on a Tuesday. And me and Ham Solo have a solo project that we do called The Crossover, where 1 minute, well, not 1 minute, one week I'm on his channel, then it's back on mine. And so come check that out. Go support, you know, Ham Solo and also the Don KTR. And then I also have, you know, I also do GRG podcast on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Central. You know, it's 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Overseas, you got to check it out.
Exactly.
And then also the next podcast, I do that on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Eastern with my boy Xbot 448. So go check out all those guys. And man, thank you so much, Webb. I do appreciate it, man. This is great, man. It's always humbling for people to come in and ask for me to do anything like this, man. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot to me, man. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, and you do a great job. And I think you're very entertaining and very knowledgeable. And I definitely encourage people, like I said, make sure they like your channel, subscribe to your channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything. It's real important that you do that. It's all free. That doesn't cost you anything to do that. And you know, you'll be able to get some great content, some insight from the different perspectives and different people's opinions from all over the gaming landscape, and I think it's great. So Kmega, thank you so much, and please, everybody, don't forget, if you get a chance to on this video, hit the like button. I know we can do that. We can get some mega likes and share it out too. We appreciate that as well. So thank you to everybody for joining us here on Outbreak Gamers.
Game